Hey there everyone, welcome back, and I do want to make a short announcement, a shameless self-promotion here before we begin the last video of this series, and that is if you like the channel, then please drop a like on some of the videos that you really enjoyed, please subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you can know when I post more content in the future. Also, since this is going to be my last episode of this series, I don't really know where I'm going to go from here. I'm going to take a little break. I'm a bit busy over the weekend, but I may be back next week with some more bridge content or other content. If there's something that you specifically want to see, maybe you want to see me playing some deals of my own, maybe you want to take a look at some of my old VuGraph broadcasts, I can see if I can pull those hands up. Hopefully they're still in the archives somewhere. Or if you yourself have hands that you want analyzed, please let me know in the comments or give me a link or something and I can take a look at that. Maybe there's going to be a live broadcast at some point, a VuGraph that I can do some live commentary for, open a stream for that. I'm not sure. Don't really know where I'm going to go with this, but I hope you've all enjoyed this series on the 2022 USBCs, and without further ado, let's jump into today's episode, the very final segment. So, today, we've got Spector versus Nickell. Spector, having faced their first deficit of the entire event, has 15 boards left to play to make up their 10 imp deficit. It's not a lot of imps, but they do have their work cut out for them. They're playing against a very, very strong Nickell team who has been rallying for several segments on this final day of competition. Let's see what they're able to do. All right, so here is the scorecard for the final segment, and we can see that Spector killed it. In this segment, they picked up 42 imps, completely dominating this half of the match. So starting out, the first two boards, we got two pushes, and it looks like these maybe could have been swings. Both sides were able to make 12 tricks and no trump on the first hand, and 13 tricks and hearts on the next one. So maybe there was some potential for a swing one way or another, but the first big swing of the set comes on board 48, where game was bid and made by Spector at both tables, although one of them was only at the 2 level because it got doubled. Let's take a look at that hand. So we have in the open room West opening a no trump with 14. They have announced, okay, so this is a little interesting. I recall in a previous segment that this pair, East-West, played a good 13 to 16, but that was not vulnerable. So at these colors, they have opened one no trump with a good 14 to 17, and that's probably because they're vulnerable. And this hand definitely qualifies as a good 14. The excellent 5-card club suit, the 10 of clubs is a huge card. Yeah, the Jack of hearts might not do a whole lot. Bunch of queens and jacks, not really the most ideal cards, but the excellent 5-card suit definitely makes this worthwhile of an upgrade. And at this point in the match, we are trying to pick up some imps. So, of course, we want to try and bid game if we can. That means overstating our values a little bit, coercing partner into accepting invites or inviting with slightly weaker hands. All these things can play a role. And East, we can see here, has a pretty mediocre 8 count and just selects to blast game 3 no trump. Now, I suspect that this pair does play some sort of puppet stamen, in which case, if East wanted, he could have bid 3 clubs to look for a potential 5-3 heart fit. The issue with a lot of these bids that convey more information about your hand is that it helps the opponents with their opening lead, and I think East was just hoping that, you know, his hand was invitational, and at the other table they might invite game, in which case if his partner has a minimum, they're going to decline, and they'll just miss out on game. So he was hoping to make a swing. He expected that there was some chance for game to make, and maybe if the opponents didn't get enough information about the deal, then they would make the wrong opening lead. So that's my guess as to what East was thinking with his 3 no trump bid. And that passes out. So North on opening lead elects to lead his only 4-card suit, spades, and a lot of players play second from a bad holding, so that looks like what North is doing here. Declare tries to unblock the spade suit, pops up with the king, goes to the ace. A spade comes back from South. He returns his original 4th best to show his partner that the suit is splitting. Declare wins and goes after the club suit. The king of clubs holds the trick. This is a great play by North, although it's not going to do all that much. It's just such a weird thing to do to lead the king of clubs if all you have is the king and queen. So from North's perspective, this really kind of feels like Declare also has the jack of clubs, in which case it's pretty safe to duck this trick. That will get more information for him about the hand. 10 of clubs is led to the queen, and Declare now continues with the 7 of clubs off dummy to force out the ace. Okay, so all of this fairly natural. And we can see with the diamond king on side, Declare actually has 2 more diamonds, 2 more clubs, and 1 spade, which is 5 tricks. So Declare is going to need to find an extra trick somewhere. Now, that will probably come from a heart finesse, and it looks like the defense can't do a whole lot to stop that. I imagine that they'll probably continue spades. Okay, so North switches to a diamond. I think North at this point realized that if he just continued spades, it would force out Declare's jack, and yes, when he gets in with the ace of hearts, he can cash a spade trick, but that's only 4 tricks for the defense. He realizes that he needs to find another defensive trick before his ace of hearts gets knocked out. He's hoping for diamonds, although he probably doesn't have a lot of hope given that he can kind of count Declare's high cards at this point. Maybe he's hoping the jack of hearts and the queen of diamonds were the queen of hearts and jack of diamonds, although he has the jack of diamonds. So maybe this is kind of a hopeless switch, but it's probably the best he can do. So diamond goes to king and ace. Declare cashes some clubs and leads a heart up towards the king. The ace wins, spade comes back, but Declare is able to claim his 9 tricks. And yeah, I mean, a lot of things had to go right. The diamond finesse needed to work, the ace of hearts needed to be on side. I guess they needed to... It might have also been the case that South could have defeated this contract by switching to a heart at trick 2, rather than playing a spade back. Nonetheless, 14 imps to Spector based on the result at the other table. So let's see what happened here. Once again, West opens no trump. This time, this partnership, they're playing precision, remember? So their no trump is limited to 16, but apparently a bad 16 count does still filter into that range. And it goes 1 no trump, pass, pass. Yeah, with the different no trump range, I mean, East realizes that they have a maximum of 24 high card points. That's really on the cusp of bidding and making game, and so he just elects to pass with his 8 count, which makes a lot of sense. South comes in with 2 clubs showing the majors. Non-vulnerable, this makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, we have a singleton, good distribution, 5-4 in the majors. Partner's always going to prefer hearts to spades unless he has longer spades, in which case we're happy. So for a lot of reasons, this bid seems quite reasonable. West doubles, and it's not alerted. I wonder if this was intended as showing clubs. Because that would make sense, looking at West's hand. He has clubs. And it doesn't really seem like he cares all that much about defending a major suit contract, you know, especially hearts, where he has a jack doubleton. But also queen jack third of spades is not necessarily a great holding. I mean, his partner could easily have a singleton spade. So it feels to me like there might be some defensive miscommunication going on here, that this double was intended as natural for clubs, and East kind of took it as more of a penalty-oriented. Well, let's see what happens. So North bids 2 spades. Alerted is constructed with spades. And we see that's what North has. I mean, yes, the distribution's terrible, but 4-card spades board is great. 2 aces is, of course, really nice. So on the off chance that East happened to have like a 0 count over here and South had a real hand, North does want to say, yes, we might still have a game, even though they opened a no trump. So that's what the 2 spade bid is conveying. And East makes a takeout double. Yeah, and it really feels like at this point, East-West are just not on the same page, because if East had a takeout double of spades, West would surely be bidding 3 clubs. It kind of feels like West intended double to show clubs, and thought that East's double was therefore cooperative or penalty or something. And so West, kind of to his own detriment, passes out the double of 2 spades. Okay, well, so here we are. This means that we need to find an opening lead. And, oh, East is on lead, of course. And I think that this is a great lead if we know what's going on in the hand. So we expect that we've made a takeout double. Our partner showed good trumps by passing, and the opponents have showed a 2-suited hand. So normally we want to lead the trump suit, if it's at all reasonable. And it can be a little scary leading from King Doubleton, but you know, our King Third of Hearts might provide defensive tricks. We don't know that the opponents actually have a heart fit on this hand. It could be that South has 5 hearts and North has a singleton, in which case we really want to be leading trumps and cut down on the cross-ref potential of the hand. So I like the opening lead. Declare gets to duck the opening lead, sure. Now a diamond switch comes through. This makes some sense. We, I guess, have decided that it can be useful, and this might be one of the last times we get into this hand, or we are on lead for this hand. I mean, the King of Hearts looks like an entry, but aside from that, the Queen of Clubs probably isn't going to be an entry to our hand. We have no more spades. We may want to lead through the King of Diamonds. If our partner has like the Ace-Jack, then it can be very important to take 2 diamond finesses through the king, picking up a couple of diamond tricks for our side. So this switch makes sense. 10 of diamonds goes to the queen. West cashes the diamond ace and returns a diamond. All of this holds. Declare leads a heart and elects to play heart to the 10. And so he's just hoping that West is going to have one of the 2 heart honors. He will now be able to cross to the ace of spades and take another heart finesse. And given that West opened no trump, it's very likely that he has one of the 2 heart honors. So the heart lead goes around to the king. A spade comes back to the ace, and North's able to claim. He loses no more hearts, no clubs, and just 1 more spade trick. 8 tricks. Yeah, wow. That is kind of a defensive disaster. I mean, in the auction was really what happened. I'm not sure that there was a way to defeat this contract for the defense. Maybe there was, but I suspect it's more likely that this was just always cold for 8 tricks, and they really just needed to find their club fit and run out to 3 clubs. It wouldn't have made up for the fact that a game was bid and made in the other room, but it would have saved them a few imps. So that's 14, and Spector took back the lead there by 4 imps, and then really never relinquished it. We had an 8 imp pickup on the next board. There were a couple of small wins for the Nickell team. 1 imp, 1 imp, 1 imp, but numerous game swings throughout for Spector, which really cemented the deal. I guess I'm a little curious about this hand 57 towards the end of the segment. So let's take a look at the open room first, because as a player, you often have a pretty good sense of where you stand in the match, and of course Nickell knew that they were ahead 10 imps going into the segment, and in the open room, they might have felt like some fairly normal things had happened. Yeah, there was the game that East-West here bid pretty aggressively that was probably going to be a swing, and there may have been one or two other results. I don't know, let's jump back to the scorecard for just a second and take a look. Yeah, maybe this 3 hearts doubled, going 2 down was not an ideal result, but the 3 no trump bid and made might be normal. Looks like a bunch of games had been bid and made, so in the open room, at least on this board 57, it feels like the players may expect that they're doing about evenly. So let's see what happened in the auction. East opened to no trump. Again, vulnerable, good 14 to 17. He has 15, so this shouldn't be too much of a decision here. West bids 2 no trump, showing diamonds. East bids 3 diamonds to say he likes the suit, and West bids 3 no trump. Yeah, it looks like West probably was going to sign off in 3 diamonds if his partner did not like the suit. Yes, there's an 8 count. The singleton king of hearts might not be great, and a suit contract may play better on this hand than no trump given the distribution. So West was probably thinking, yeah, we could have a vulnerable game, but I'm going to ask, and of course East has great diamond support. So South now has to make an opening lead, and I guess I would say it's a little notable that South, with 15 highs, didn't have anything to say over no trump. His partner's a passed hand. I think this makes a lot of sense, but South could have done something, maybe showed both majors. It was possible over the no trump opener. So South has to find an opening lead. Let's just see what he chooses. He leads from his stronger suit, which is hearts. I think this makes a lot of sense. We have to pick something to lead from. We have a bunch of honors. We don't want to lead a diamond, and leading from a 4-card suit is probably preferable to leading from a 3-card suit. So the 3 of hearts gets led to the singleton king and dummy, and Declare is just going to have 9 tricks, it looks like. He has 6 diamonds and 2 clubs off the top. He's probably going to be fairly happy to just take those tricks and go home. So we'll see. Let's see if he tries anything funny or interesting. He runs all of his diamonds, discards his heart losers, plays the ace of clubs, plays a club, finds out that South has it protected, and concedes the rest of the tricks. So 9 tricks and 3 no trump bid and made. Let's see what happened in the other table, or in the other room. And I'm saying this because so I want to jump back to the scorecard for a second to look at where East-West in this room feel like they are. They've conceded a doubled game on a large mistake on this board. They went down in a game. We didn't look at that hand, but maybe that's reasonable. They went down in another game. Again, we don't know if they think that that's reasonable. But a lot of these other hands probably feel like pushes to them. So I would expect East-West to think that they're behind at this point for the Nickell team. And that means going into this board with only 4 hands to play, they might try and generate a swing. So East opens a no trump, again their range, good 13 to 16. West makes a transfer to diamonds, or it could be weak with both minors as alerted. And East says that he likes diamonds. So we've had the same bids in this auction, although East's opening range for the no trump is slightly weaker than it was in the other room, only by 1 high card point. So from West's perspective, again, I would expect that opposite a hand which has good support for diamonds, we would want to plan a game. Now, West should know that as well. He probably is thinking about the same thing. And maybe he just judged differently and says, I was always planning on signing off. It's great that partner's able to take Declare for this auction. Had he bid 3 clubs, showing a weak hand, than I would have had to declare. But nonetheless, I still have a lot of losers. I don't know if the King of Hearts is going to be a useful card. Yeah, Ace-10 third of clubs is probably a pretty good holding. The Jack-10 9/6 of diamonds doesn't look great until I find out partner has support for the suit. So, maybe we just want to play an apart score. Or West could be trying to generate a swing by saying, okay, hopefully declare at the other table, or East at the other table opens a no trump as well. We get the same auction, and they decide to aggressively bid game, which doesn't make. I can generate a swing by staying a little low, playing in the part score, and just hoping that the game goes down. So we're not sure why West necessarily didn't go on the game on this deal. It also may be that they have different agreements for what good support for diamonds could be. Like, King third of diamonds might be good diamond support, but that doesn't sit very well opposite Jack-10 9/6. So anyway, at this table they get to 3 diamonds. South makes the only lead he can, I think, that's not leading away from an ace and not leading away from queen double to a trump. So he leads a club. The 10 of clubs holds. We get a diamond to the ace, the king of diamonds. And declarer is now just going to run some clubs, discard his heart loser, and take a spade finesse. He finds out this spade is offside, and that's 11 tricks. So that was the last chance that the Nickell team had to make any sort of progress in the match. The last 3 boards were pushes, and Spector comes out on top. All right, well, that's going to do it for the coverage of the 2022 USBCs. Congratulations to Team Spector, and I would like to thank especially John Kranyak for answering a couple questions when I reached out to him about some of the deals from earlier in his play, as well as Aaron Jones, who played in this event and was knocked out in the round of 16, but I was able to ask him a couple of questions about how the event was set up and found out all the stuff about them using iPads and whatnot to get the players to play the cards to protect against COVID. But yeah, so congratulations to Spector. They will be representing the US in the upcoming Bermuda Bowl in 2023. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be held, but we have another year to find out, and next year there will be another USBCs to find out which team will represent the US as USA 2, the second team that we send to that competition. I hope you all enjoyed the series, and please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and let me know in comments if there's any other content that you would like to see on this channel. Thanks a lot.